Hey guys, today I'm in the garden harvesting cucumbers and squash and all the other goodies that are starting to form. But what I want to talk about specifically is fruit flies. We've had a lot of rain this year and that's caused an overpopulation of fruit flies. So I'm going to show you how to eliminate fruit flies from your produce, whether you grow it yourself or bring it home from the store. Could be from a potted plant or any number of ways that it could get inside. But I'm going to show you how to eliminate the possibility of getting fruit flies, and if it has already occurred and you have a massive infestation of fruit flies, a very simple method to get rid of them, and it costs pennies to do. It's nearly free. So let's head into the potting shed and I'll show you exactly how to do this process. So guys, I always try to give added value for my patrons, and I created a multi-page booklet about fruit flies for your garden produce and how to control them, capture them, and eliminate them from your home. So if you're already a paid member of the Patreon, go over there, you can download it, save it to your device, print out a hard copy like this, and you can keep it for if the one day that you have a fruit fly infestation. So you can just type it in, and if you organize things alphabetically, you can just type in what you're having. It'll pop that up. I have dozens and dozens of PDFs on all sort of different topics around the home and garden. You can take a look at that, and that will help you find it quickly, and you can just read it off, and because it's hard to remember all these details, so having a PDF really helps. If I put everything in the PDF into the video, it'd probably be an hour long. Now as you look at this produce, you can't really see any insects there, but what it happens is with fruit flies on produce, fruit flies are attracted to ripe, overripe, bruised, cracks, fermented fruits and vegetables. Now your garden produce can bring fruit flies indoors because the eggs are so small, without a microscope you wouldn't see them. So there could be eggs or even larvae hiding in different places and cracks and crevices. If you leave the stem or any leafy area on the plant, that can happen. So fruit flies are especially drawn to the natural sugars beginning to ferment. So even if you've picked them early, you could have a little bit of overripeness happening there. And especially tomatoes. Tomatoes can crack and split because they have too much water. Peaches, figs, things like that. Melons, anything can attract them so quickly that you will have fruit flies in them and you won't even realize. The eggs, like I said, they are just so small, it's like the head of a pin, so you would never see it. So our goal here is to clean the produce with a very special formula, removing any possible residue and getting those insect eggs off of our produce, a larva off, and it's going to definitely slow down and inhibit the possibility of any fruit flies making it into your home. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to give all of our fruits and vegetables a bath, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to do this in our kitchen sink. Since I don't have a sink in my potting shed here, I'm just using this large plastic container. But just remember, most kitchen sinks are going to be anywhere from 4 to 5 gallons on average. So you're going to fill up with cool water, not hot water. We want the water to be cool. You're going to need, of course, your sink, the cool water. You're going to need white vinegar, just plain white vinegar, not any type of special vinegar. We just need, not apple cider vinegar, just plain white vinegar. You're going to need unscented Castile soap. Now I'll put a link in the description. A lot of people have never heard of this, but I wouldn't recommend doing this with dish soap. We want to use something that's a lot safer than dish soap. So this is really one of the best soaps you can use, because you don't want Dawn or whatever it is might be on your food. There could be some slight residue left. Next, you're going to need a small measuring cup like this. You need some clean towels. You'll need what I call a spaghetti strainer. Some people call this a colander. And also, I don't have it out here in the potting shed today, but a soft vegetable brush. That's really an optional item, but firm produce can take a little bit of scrubbing with like I said, a soft vegetable brush. So look in the description. I'll put one of those like I've got in my kitchen. Now let's do our exact mix here. We're going to use 1 cup of our white vinegar. Let's make sure we got this just right. And again, like I said, this is nowhere near the size of a kitchen sink, this little plastic container. So just remember, you want to make sure that you use 1 cup to what would fill up an average kitchen sink. Next, you're going to use our Castile soap. We're going to use 1/2 of 1 teaspoon, not a lot. And you can just gently mix this in there with a spoon itself. As I said, this is a very safe soap. It's made from a lot of natural things, so you don't have to worry about that getting on your produce. And just stir it. Remember, it's best to use unscented Castile soap if I haven't already said that. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to start placing our produce into our soak. And you want to leave this in here from anywhere from about 1 hour to 2 hours. and you just kind of move them around gently, and that's going to remove any residues, any eggs. The vinegar is going to do a great job of killing those eggs for you. And so any dirt that might be on there, that'll remove that as well. And then you want to take all of these out and place them on a towel, roll them around, put them between 2 towels, and make sure they're completely dry, because you don't want a chance of any mold or other issues happening because you leave your produce wet. Another thing to remember is never put these inside of a freezer bag when they're still wet. They need to be completely dried if you're going to store them in your fridge inside of a freezer bag or any other type of container. So remember, moisture is our enemy when it comes to our vegetables. Now, berries are slightly different. We have some beautiful blackberries growing back here. They're quite large. Some of the largest ones I've ever seen this year, I guess because of all the rain. But you're not going to use the exact same method. You're going to slightly change it up, and that's where the colander or the spaghetti strainer comes in. So I'm going to fill this up with some blackberries and go back in there and show you how to handle your blackberries, which have very thin skins, can be easily damaged by this process. Now, when it comes to berries, and these are, like I said, these are some of the best blackberries I've ever grown. I think it's mainly because I said earlier, the rain. We've had a massive amount of rain. These are the size of the large strawberries a lot of times you see at the store. But we want to do the exact same process, same formula, but with berries, they have a much thinner skin, whether we're talking about raspberries, blueberries, blackberries. We want to do a much shorter soak time. So just take a colander like this, fill up your colander with how many ever berries you got, put them in your sink. You don't have to have them completely submerged for a long period of time. Anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes is probably going to remove a lot of potential eggs, a lot of the dust and dirt that are on there. When you take them out, put them on a towel, spread them out. Paper towels will be fine. And then put a very small light fan blowing on them, and they'll dry out, because it's very hard to keep from damaging a lot of the berries. So I always put a little fan directed on them, and they dry out just fine sitting on a towel in the kitchen. So guys, let's move on from our washing procedure to what happens if we already have a severe infestation of fruit flies. So what we're going to do is take any type of glass, and the best thing that will attract fruit flies is any type of fermented smell, and one of the best things you can use is apple cider vinegar. So we're going to take just a regular glass and fill it to maybe about 1/4 of the way up with apple cider vinegar. That's going to put out an odor that's going to attract the fruit flies directly to the glass in the kitchen. Now, if you have them in multiple rooms, you may have set up more than one trap, but just standing right here, I can smell an overpowering smell of our apple cider vinegar. Now, another thing you can add to this formula is probably a shot glass of red wine. Those two mixed together is the ultimate solution for attracting fruit flies into your trap. So let's go to the setting up, because just having it like this isn't the completed trap. Now, there's a few things you're going to need to make this work properly. Now, you can either use cling wrap or a piece of typing paper, and I'll explain the typing paper method in just a second. We're going to tear off a piece of cling wrap. I'm not a huge fan of it because I like just using containers in the kitchen, but my wife insists on using cling wrap. So you're going to put that over any type of glass that you have, container, and then you're going to take a toothpick. You're going to need a toothpick there, a small rubber band. Put the rubber band around the sides of it to keep it from slipping down, to make sure it has a nice grip. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our toothpick and put about 10 small holes all the way around the top. Now, fruit flies are very small, so they're going to be able to get through those. I would just put 5 in this one because my container is not that big. The smell of the fermented, either apple cider vinegar, wine, whatever you try to use, and you can use wine or apple cider vinegar independently, but I like mixing the two. I don't have any wine in the greenhouse today, so I'm just showing it to you with the apple cider vinegar. Set this in whatever room you're having the fruit fly problem, whether it is a restroom, bathroom, shower area, laundry room, kitchen. Leave it there overnight and you'll be amazed. You'll see a lot of fruit flies trapped there. Now, currently, I don't have a fruit fly issue, but I will post a few pictures of fruit flies, and they are just kind of a miniature version of a big black house fly that you see. That's the easy way to trap them. Now, one thing I forgot to do here, and it's absolutely critical, is you need to put some Castile soap, just a couple of drops on the surface. It's not absolutely necessary, and it is an optional item, but I think putting that on the surface helps break the surface tension, and they're more likely to go into our liquid. Sometimes actually flies or insects can actually land on the surface, not break the tension, and then make their way back out of the glass. So putting just a little bit of Castile soap, maybe 2 or 3 drops on the surface. Just gently swirl it together, but you kind of want it floating on the surface, so don't make a foamy mess out of it. Just put a couple of drops in there where it's sneakily sitting on the surface for our little fruit fly friends that will come into our trap. Now, I mentioned a piece of typing paper just a second ago, but what you're going to do is you're going to turn your typing paper or printing paper into a funnel. You want the hole at the very end to be as small as possible, smaller than a pencil eraser. Then you want to tape it into a funnel. You can cut around the top of it, kind of an odd shape, so it's better to make the funnel first and then cut around the top. A bit tricky there. And so once you've created your funnel, just take a piece of tape. You can put that down in your glass or container, whatever you have. Remember, you don't want the hole to be too large, because we want the fruit flies, once they go into the funnel, that they're trapped inside of the glass. Now, this would probably require a little bit taller glass because our funnel's a little bit larger. You can also take that same tape and tape around the edges where the seal is not broken. I know that not everybody uses cling wrap anymore, or saran wrap is what we call it around the deep south. But anyways, this will work like you wouldn't believe. The next morning, if you have fruit flies in your kitchen, you're going to see dozens of fruit flies captured there. You may have to empty it out at some point because it would probably become so disgusting. But anyways, you can use it for multiple days. It will continue to work. That smell will draw them in, and you can get rid of your fruit flies. Now, a lot of times it may not even be produce where they started from. It could have came in from something such as a plant you had outside and you brought it in for the late summer. The weather's starting to change, possibly too much rain. You want to bring it in from the rain. Fruit flies can be in the soil. One thing you can do to the soil of your potted plants is to take some aquarium gravel and put it about an inch thick all the way up to the top. That makes it much harder for the fruit flies to lay their eggs on the soil surface. And do a really good inspection. Do a light spraying of this Castile soap on the leaves of your plant. Just mix it just a few drops, maybe up to half an ounce, to a sprayer sized bottle, and then spray the tops and undersides of the leaves. And this Castile soap can help with some of the eggs and larvae that might be on the house plant you brought in. You may not even be able to see the insects there. So guys, as I said earlier, I have a small booklet about fruit fly control. It's not the most exciting topic, but if you have fruit flies, suddenly it becomes the most important issue in your life, because they will absolutely drive you crazy. So take a look at that. You can download it, save it to an actual hard copy, or your phone or tablet or computer, PC, whatever you have, and you can go back and look at it. Just make sure you alphabetize it, and then you can just pull it up by typing in fruit fly trap or on produce or whatever like that. But guys, I really appreciate you watching. If you have a question, please become a public subscriber of YouTube first, because I tend to sort the questions out. I get anywhere from 200 to 300 questions a day, and it's really hard to get to all those questions. So I try to give the people who are subscribing to the channel priority over everyone else. If you really want to help the channel, if you become a member of the Patreon paid member, you can get access to dozens and dozens of PDFs on a lot of different topics around home and garden. You can take a look at those and download them for no charge at all. If you just want to pay for one PDF that you see you might be interested in, you can do that. You can just pay for that one PDF, and you don't have to become a monthly member. But monthly members really do help me quite a bit. It encourages me and keeps me going on new topics. I probably have 50 topics I've got in my head that it'll take me probably 6 months to a year to get them all up on screen. So guys, I really appreciate you watching, and have a great day.